Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Talk Nerdy School, where we put the cool in school. Today we are going to be talking about one of my old friends, the quadratic formula. Before we get into that, though, let's discuss what the quadratic formula does and perhaps why we should care about it in the first place. You see, the quadratic formula is used to find the 0 points on a quadratic curve, otherwise known as a parabola. This has tons of fun applications. For example, if you want to build a cannon to launch a cupcake from your location to a friend 30 miles away, you can use the quadratic formula to know if you have placed your cannon at the proper angle for your friend to receive your gift. Now that we understand what the quadratic formula does, let's talk about some things we need to understand in order to use it. First and foremost, the quadratic formula is only useful if we have a quadratic equation. Quadratic equations are very cool because they contain an x squared term, as opposed to the solitary x we see in the equations for boring old straight lines. This gives them that beautiful curved feature that we see in all of our parabolas. Let's take a look at a few quadratic equations now. The first one we want to look at is y equals x squared. This is probably the simplest quadratic equation that we could have. We can see that characteristic parabolic curve, and if we set it equal to 0, we simply get that x is equal to 0 at our 0 point. Not very interesting if you ask me. So let's take a look at something a little more fun. Let's say y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now if we set this equal to 0, it is not quite as simple to solve for x. But if we know our quadratic formula, we can get through this challenging problem with ease. If we say x squared plus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0, we have created what is called the standard form of a quadratic equation. You will often see this written in textbooks as ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now, in our case, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 3, and c is equal to 2. I'm sure you must be very concerned about all the extra letters here, but have no fear, because you will never have to solve for a, b, or c. You will always know them, because they come directly from your quadratic equation. Isn't that awesome? Now that we know all of this, let's jump straight into our quadratic formula. Just look at that absolutely stunning formula. We've got a little bit of everything in there, don't we? A plus or minus symbol, a square root, and some division. Isn't that exciting? Now, I know that this seems really intimidating when you first look at it, but I promise you're going to be okay. To start off, I'm going to demonstrate an awesome way to remember this formula with the song. Are you ready? X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. See? Not so scary now. Take that, quadratic formula. So, going back to the actual problem we were trying to solve, if you recall, we said that a was equal to 1, b was equal to 3, and c was equal to 2. Let's go ahead and plug those numbers into our quadratic formula and see what happens. Now, all that we need to do is work out the math. I would recommend starting with that pesky square root term. We can see that we have 3 squared. So let's solve that out, since we know that 3 squared is equal to 9. Now we do the multiplication of 4 times 1 times 2, which is the number 8, a fantastic number if I do say so myself. Then we do our subtraction, 9 minus 8, which is 1, the loneliest number. Then we take the square root of 1, which is 1. And now we can work out the rest. Let's do -3 plus 1, which gives us -2, which we then divide by 2, giving us -1. Then we'll do -3 minus 1, which gives us -4, and again divide by 2, leaving us with -2. So we've discovered that our zeros are at x equals -1 and x equals -2. We can go back and look at our graph, and sure enough, we are geniuses and our math is correct. Congratulations! You have begun your journey in learning how to use the quadratic formula. Today, you learned what that formula is used for and how to use it. I am incredibly proud of you. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything, and if you want to see more content like this. Remember, never stop learning. This is Talk Nerdy School, signing off. I'll see you next time.